So, in a couple of days' time, the CEO forward slash head honcho of Disney has got his latest quarterly earnings call. What is he going to tell them? If he is going to halt the losses, and we are going to talk about them, how does he do that? And is an agenda-driven, Snow White, race-swapped lead remake the way to encourage investors that he's got a plan? Just to give you a heads up, I think not. Bonjour. Firstly, let me thank everyone so far that is helping to grow my humble little channel. You know I really appreciate it if you've followed me for any length of time, but I still like saying thank you to you all, and especially you wonderful, sexy nutters that are subscribing. I've still got to think of a better name along the lines of Hoglet or something, you see where I'm going with that? Anyway, but in the meanwhile, you're sexy nutters, and I thank you all. Thank you so much. And this video is going to be a little bit different because I want to, if you do know me or my channel, you kind of know my opinion on this stuff. But what I want to try and do is look at it as objectively as I can. So obviously I've got an opinion on this, otherwise I wouldn't be doing a video of it. But I want to look at this objectively. And Bob Iger, he's come back like the knight in shining armour. Okay, he was the one that kind of instigated all of the new age of Disney, which was going very, very well. And it made Disney the biggest studio in the world, the biggest at what they do. But and by a long way. There's no one else nipping at their heels by a long way. He helped do that, right? So we need to get that out of the way. But what we need to do is focus on this latest earnings call, and it is probably going to be it's going to be the worst quarterly results the company has ever suffered, and there's no COVID, so we can't blame that now, can we? And he's got this quarterly earnings call, and he is going to have, I don't know whether it's going to be an actual call, because most often than not, the biggest shareholders, it isn't literally an earnings call. And the last one was a little bit awkward, for want of a better term. But again, I'm going to remain objective, because a lot of people have got a lot of money invested in this company. They're not playing at it. They're not Disney fans. They're people with a lot of money that have invested. And at the moment, they're losing millions of subscribers each quarter. We'll find out how many more they've lost this quarter. They've closed the Star Wars hotel, are closing. The plan is to close it. No more bookings. Apparently the parks, I don't get too involved in the parks, but what I will say is, and this is all objective, you can research all of this isn't me giving it large on YouTube, telling you about how dismal Disney are. This is just the objective reality. They're losing subscribers, they're losing money. Their last three big releases in the cinema, and the last TV show, which is Secret Invasion, separate videos to discuss that. The three films are Indiana Jones, the Little Mermaid, and Ant-Man, Quantumania. Sorry, phone was going off. It diverted my attention a bit then. All of this combined makes for one of that it's reflected in the stock price in the past few years. A lot of their problems are stemming from the way they create their content. And it is content, It is product, but it used to be stuff. It used to be content and product that people fell in love with. That was because no one felt as if they were being lectured by people about how they should live their lives and educate their children in a very, very basic, without getting into the detail. We don't go there in this video. But if you're following me this far, please bear with me, because I am gonna keep this, with feet firmly in reality, or objective reality. So what is he going to say to the investors? If you've got, so that stock price has gone down about 30% since the post-pandemic. I know this because I bought Disney shares, because everyone's shares in that kind of field went down after the pandemic, because the stock market, or whatever, all around the world, what all the stock markets are called, were going, oh my God, everyone's got to go back to work now. They were flying high when everyone was sat at home, needing more content. And, your Disneys, your Netflixes, and etc., etc. And I bought shares in those too. So so this is kind of anecdotal, but also based on my experience, which is when all those stock prices kind of dropped for everyone, those few months, say that within that first 6 months after the pandemic finished, after that 2 years of madness, roughly, everyone stopped. And I thought, and I'd never, believe it or not, I'd never dabbled in the stock market before, ever in my life. And I thought, so just as a, rather than gamble on the horses, I've put a few quid on Netflix and Disney, because they were so low, it was compared to how they had been, and they kept going lower and lower. And I thought, right, pick your moment, right, buy it low. And it wasn't, I didn't gamble like the family jewellery on it. It was just a few quid over there. Netflix started going back up again because of what they were doing, how I was running the business, etc. Disney never ever recovered, and I bailed out last year. And if you've been following my videos, you know I do make a joke of it, of the stocks tanking worse than Brad Pitt in Fury. And they are, what I can't believe is they are still tanking. Now, from the moment I bought those shares, that's a loss of 30%. And I only had a few quid to lose. My point is, these investors at this quarterly earnings call this week are going to be talking about millions, tens of millions. And they would be asking Bob Iger, what are you going to do about it? You've been brought in, and it's all right, yes, they're going to fiddle the accounts and they're going to put these losses, they're going to have a company that's lost so much they haven't got no tax to pay and all the rest of it. That's okay for now. But we all know how long these films take. If Bob Iger's even got some stuff in the pipeline, that oil tanker, and this is the analogy I always use, an oil tanker takes a long while from the time you make the decision to change direction, takes a long while. You push the buttons, you pull the levers, you tell your second in command where you're going and what you want to do. Right, and I'm going to keep with that analogy, because Bob Iger steering his oil tanker is telling Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy where he's steering it. Steering it, sorry. Put my teeth in. And that's when it boils down to leadership. Only leadership. Producers, Feige, Kennedy, leading their respective parts of the corporation, have been allowed to run riot. You producers produce, creators create. Producers should be steering imaginative, creative talent, new and experienced, combined, to bring us something like Frozen. Brand new. No remake. Just brand new. They bought Pixar. because the guys and girls there were just producing hit after hit after hit. It wasn't the same old thing. It wasn't the same old story. It wasn't. I know I promised not to go there, but just let me get over this one tiny bit. It wasn't race swapped and gender swapped and lectury kind of how we should live our lives, namby pamby, hoity toity lectures. It was just pure, new, imaginative entertainment. That's why they bought Pixar. And guess what? That's why they bought Lucasfilm. What was it? Star Wars. That was it. Do you remember that? We don't go there. Not in this one. Their big idea at the moment, get to the point. Their big idea at the moment, which is what leads me to my main point of this video, is the remake of Snow White. Which I would describe as, and all right, there's a little bit of opinion here, but the fact is that film was such a global phenomenon in 1937 that it gave Walt Disney the money to build his empire, if you look at it that way, or, you know, whatever way you want to look at it, build his empire, create his studio, do more great films, you know, go on and do Bambi and all the rest of it. So you can, I think I can say that this is a cornerstone of Disney. A major, it was the first feature film that was completely animated, a cell animation in full colour with fully synchronised sound. 1937. They called it. It was so innovative that they called it Disney's Folly at the time. And you think about that now. What Disney do now? We're talking about. What are we talking about? 60, like 90 years ago, roughly, give or take. My maths isn't good. We're talking about 90 years ago, a man that was being laughed at. It was cool. You can research all this if you want. Google away. Disney's Folly. It went massively over budget. He still carried on. Released it. Massive hit. I don't know what the adjusted dollars are. But I tell you what, I do think, someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please, but I'm pretty sure that is still the top grossing animated film of all time if you adjusted it in dollars. Basically, because there was nothing else around, I suppose you could claim. But what a timeless, it has been called a masterpiece, and deservedly so. You look at that animation today, I defy anyone. This is where we get, now this is where I'm wandering into opinion now. My opinion. And it is a masterpiece. I defy anyone to watch that now and not be engaged, not be cheering the prince and hoping the kiss works and detesting Maleficent, you know, the evil, etc. Now, why? Bearing in mind, why would Bob Iger? And I know this might have been kicked off. This remake might have been kicked off before Bob Iger took it. It probably was. Why allow it to continue? Bearing in mind everything I've just said, and what an iconic part of this company. But do you know where this leads us? Is to creative bankruptcy, which is in danger of leading this company into financial bankruptcy, because neither Feige nor Kennedy has nurtured nurtured and retained any decent creative capability. All they've done is treat all of these people around them like cannon fodder, whilst installing their political viewpoint of the world and what they believe people should be told. I'm sorry, guys, but that isn't how entertainment works. It really isn't. And sometimes in the darkest days, you just need the most purest, simplest entertainment. I.e., you need a film like Maverick, a very simplistic kind of, whatever way you come at it. I enjoyed the film, but that is kind of like a beacon in the dross at the moment, and my go-to for everything anti what they're doing in Hollywood. And it's not like Tom Cruise is a genius. I think he's becoming a great filmmaker. He's always been a great actor, always been a fan. But he didn't make a genius move by doing that film. He just did what he saw as his job. As a film producer and actor, he thought, how do I entertain an audience? Oh, do I put in loads of female pilots and loads of different races of pilots from all over the world and spend an hour talking about their backstory and how they got there? No. That's what's infected. That's what's infected this entire company. And I think Iger, and I will, I'm going to sum it up quickly and just leave you with some thoughts about why. I think it will be cancelled. I think it will be cancelled because even based on those silly little photos that were released, whether they was a joke or not, a hoax or not, Disney is becoming beyond parody. That not Disney, the Snow White debate, it's beyond parody now. It really is, and there's no way on this God's green earth that is going to be a hit and save their fortunes. So I don't know what else Iger's going to be saying, but by abusing another linchpin of the Disney brand, the global brand. They've already abused so much, and I won't go into each individual. If you're going to remake a classic, if you're going to remake an animated classic, surely, like they did with Beauty and the Beast, like it or not, is they remade it in live action. Lion King, they just remade it in, I still don't get that one, but they remade it in live action. Just remake the film. And if you want to do a different fantasy story with a diverse cast that is respectful and inclusive of the world we live in, well, then get a team together, get some new blood on board, overseen by experienced professionals, and create something new. Give the audience and the shareholders, yay! Give them another Frozen, because that's where that come from. They want to remake nothing. Do that again and again. But Iger goes back to leadership. The man has got to step up. It's not just floating all through now, is it? Because I think there are lower revenues now. I think there are less bums on seats and all that. So you lot on the big bucks have got to work harder. You can't just sit, like Feige can't sit back anymore and let the Russo brothers get on with Marvel. KK can't just, I don't know what she's ever done, to be fair. Bad example. Another video, I've lambasted her enough for now. How she's still lingering like a bad smell, I do not know. But I don't know where this is all going to lead, but a couple of predictions. They're going to cancel Snow White if they know what's good for them. It appears at the moment as if they don't. And there's going to be a sell-off of something. There must be the sell-off of something. I don't know if they're going to announce it at this earnings call, but certainly before the end of the year. I know the Hulu deal, they've just basically got to buy it at the beginning of next year. So between now and the end of the year, no Snow White, and they've definitely got to sell off something big. And I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully this is giving you food for thought rather than, me ranting and raving. And please come at me with your comments. I'd really love to know what you're all thinking. How this is going to, because this don't forget, this was the biggest, or still is. I think it's still by any measurement, even though they're losing billions in stock price, they're still the biggest. But sometimes the biggest fall hardest, don't they? And on that note, I will bid everyone adios.